Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. If you do have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to ask the questions in the comment section at the bottom of your box. You'll see a little box where you can do comments. Go ahead and ask your questions there, and at the end of the webinar, we'll go ahead and answer those questions. So again, thank you very much for giving Advantech and our partners an opportunity to talk to you today about iHealthcare product solutions and how they can benefit you and your customers to develop a truly intelligent hospital. So today I'm actually joined by an impressive group of individuals who will talk to you about an enablement of digital transformation in healthcare. We have Meredith Stossman from Suquino, and she's the Global VP of Business Development. We also have Amar Parmar, who's the head of medical MST at Wind River. Tim Mitchell, who's one of our Advantechers, he's the healthcare sales manager. And also from Advantech, we have Joseph Su. He's the Director of Corporate Investment and Business Operations. And myself, Clay Fazio, and I'm the Director of iHealthcare Product Solutions here at Advantech Corporation. So over the next hour, we're going to talk to you about Advantech and our solutions in the medical market and how our partners, like the ones we have here today, have been able to leverage our platforms to develop some interesting applications. So, next slide. So who's Advantech? So Advantech, a lot of people aren't familiar with our name or our brand, but we're known as the brand behind the brand. And that's because we're a leading embedded IPC or an industrial PC manufacturer, and we're the largest in the world. We're involved in a lot of different markets. We're in industrial automation, transportation, military, telecom, and of course healthcare. And that's just to name a few. Last year we did $1.6 billion, and we're continuing to expand our presence globally to support and service our customers. So what does embedded industrial PC manufacturing mean, or what does it provide? It actually provides a focus on developing quality products that can operate 24/7 and in many different types of conditions. We work to provide long production life, and so that these products can be offered for over 5 years or more. And if you compare that to the consumer or commercial market space, which are typically about 18 months, you can continue to use our products over a longer period of time. And what does that mean for you and your applications? Well, you don't have to change out your products frequently. It means that if you buy a product today, you can continue buying that same product year over year, so it won't change your workflow or it won't change your process. So that's one of the benefits of leveraging an embedded solution. Next slide. So how big we are almost 8,000 employees. We do have 2 manufacturing sites, and that's critical because we're one of the last embedded providers today that have their own manufacturing facilities. We have manufacturing facilities both in China and Taiwan. We also have 4 logistics centers. That's in the US, in Germany, in China, and Taiwan. We have 14 repair centers globally, and we operate out of 26 different countries. And we're continuing to grow. So you can see here, this is kind of the roadmap where we're at as far as the current offices, and we already know we have new planned offices here within the US and also in other parts of the world. Next slide. So healthcare. Advantech has one of the largest embedded medical portfolios servicing a number of different applications. In fact, here in North America, over 40% of our business is medically related. We have several dedicated organizations developing off-the-shelf products that allow our customers to develop applications really quickly. In fact, we have not just one organization, but currently we have over 4 different organizations that are developing different products for different application needs. So we also have hospital partners that are validating our products, and that helps us to improve our solutions by them validating it and also getting feedback from our customers to say how well we're developing products, or if we have to make changes to help them implement products that will help them digitally transform the caregivers. Our solutions can be sold as is, standalone products, or we can design in to device manufacturers where they can integrate our products as a complete hardware solution. In fact, many of our customers today use our current products to do some semi-customizations, or we do have customers that leverage more of an ODM plan, which is to develop a fully custom solution. And a lot of our customers that do go completely ODM, it's because they need a specific product and which Advantech can deliver. Next slide. So I don't want to focus too much on our products and our product offerings. I could talk for many hours if I would talk about all of our products. But really what I want to do is just kind of give you just an idea of our portfolio and what solutions we do have to offer. So our first platform here is the POC. The POCs are point of care terminals. They're products that have computers already built inside the display. They don't take a lot of real estate. But they are designed to meet strict quality standards for the medical environment. They're especially useful in critical care environments like ICU or operating rooms, and their sizes are about 15 inches to 24 inches. Our next product, which we launched last year, is called our Avast platform, and that's a video management solution. We know a lot of hospitals today are in the process of recording their surgical procedures, and these types of solutions bundled with Advantech's knowledge in broadcasting and our surveillance business units, we're able to integrate encoders and decoders and transcoders to do all the work for our low latency video management solutions. And so they're perfect for telemedicine and surgical videos. Next, we have our PACS platform. Our PACS are medical surgical monitors, and they range from 24 inches to 32 inches. They have up to 4K resolution. They are DICOM compliant. They're Gamma 2.2. They also support 14-bit LUT grayscale, which basically provides representation of the tones for shadowy areas. So it's easier to see more information in the X-ray images, for example. Next is the HIT. That's our healthcare infotainment terminals, and they range from 10 to 18.5 inches. And one of the main features of this product, which this was again support from the hospitals and also from one of our customers, is that it has a dual audio codec. The first of its kind, where an individual that's on the handset having conversation, they can still have a conversation and receive medical alerts from the panel PC. So you don't want to be on the phone and not hearing any of the information coming from the HIT display, because if it's connected to a critical element of the patient care, you would want to know if there's an urgent issue. And this system will allow that to happen. So this product is excellent for nurse calls, bedside patient, and also EHR or EMR terminals. Next is our AMIS. These are our carts and medication dispensers. The carts have been around for a number of years. The medication dispenser is something we're launching this year. It's completely customizable, and the cart is completely customizable. You can add on a bunch of different peripherals. You can add integrated computers, battery backup solutions. And in fact, the medication dispensers that we do have, they're all RFID controlled, so it provides more safety and security for our patients. Next is the USM. These are expandable computing solutions, very general purpose for the hospital industry, but they support a wide array of applications in a hospital. And next are AIM tablets. These are rugged medical handheld devices. They feature a number of different expansion modules. We can add barcode readers, smart cards, MSRs, a lot of different elements you can plug onto these devices to give them a lot more feature sets. One nice thing about this is it already has a long battery life, but it's designed in a way that allows you to put a user-accessible battery so that they can do swappable batteries to keep the battery running or keep the system running over a longer period of time. And then finally, our hospital management, the SRPs, which these are solution-ready platforms. We have one that's for RTLS and also one for Command Center. The RTLS is just a real-time location tracking system. It allows hospitals that have critical equipment that they have placed throughout the hospital that need to go to different patients or to different caregivers. And if they can't find it or it's misplaced, it's easy for them to track it in the hospital. And also the Command Center is just one way to help the hospital to digitally transform their workflow. So they're easy to see the workflows and understand what's happening in the hospital at a glance. Next slide. So real quick about Advantech solutions and how they're designed and why they're important for us. First of all of our medical products that are used as critical care equipment are all 4th edition and medically certified. So they've gone through the strenuous testing that's required to meet those compliance. A lot of our products are water resistant. So a lot of them are IP54 or above. We make solutions that are fanless and noiseless. Obviously, we want to keep them as quiet as possible. And fanless is just so we can get rid of any possible dust that may be accumulating. So we want to keep a lot of the airflow down. We implement isolation in all of our designs. We're alcohol wipe safe, And we are latex glove friendly, which means all of our touch screens can work with latex gloves. And finally, the core competencies and the value add from Advantech. We already talked about the product longevity. We do have 5+ years on all of our products. We do design and manufacture all of our own products. We do use for revision control, which we know is very important for the medical industry. So we won't be changing components or elements of our design without notifying customers in advance, but we won't make these changes which could cause serious impact to our customers. We also have an FDA-registered facility in the United States. All of our facilities and service facilities are ISO 13485 certified. And finally, again, our products are really designed with healthcare in mind. So hopefully, this brief introduction to Advantech Solutions has given you more insight into what we can offer our customers and help them digitally transform the healthcare industry. So next, I would like to introduce Meredith Softman, who will talk about Suquino's involvement in holistic and personalized telemedicine.
Thank you so much, Clay. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time to hear about the future of healthcare with Advantech and its partners like Suquino. We looked around with years of telehealth experience in the company, beginning at NASA and continuing through putting some of the largest early telehealth solutions around the world, including in India and Africa, and saw that things were evolving and that healthcare as a whole was facing global challenges. Next slide, please. All over the world, with an elderly population that is growing geometrically and an increase in chronic care patients at all ages and all levels of care and need, we're seeing rising healthcare costs, physician burnout due to excessive administrative tasks, and a lack of connection between all of the areas of healthcare and the administrative duties that affect it, like payers, providers, and increasingly patients and the elderly and chronic care patients who want connections to family who, because of geographic changes in employment and life, are farther and farther away as a caretaker, with little or no access to the patient and their doctors at the time that care is needed. And finally, there's limited access to affordable healthcare all over the world, in areas that are rural and in areas where veterans have gone, and further in other countries other than the US, we see lots of places where people have not seen a doctor, a nurse, or any appropriate health care, sometimes for all of their lives. Next slide. Many technologies have come out over the years to try to address those problems. But with that technology came new challenges. Disparate systems of patient care, breakdowns between specialists and payors, insurance companies or payors controlling diagnosis or ability to make a diagnosis, and a total lack of connected care. With that fragmented ecosystem came burnout from physicians who spent more time having to look at the charts they were supposed to write instead of looking at the patients they were supposed to care for. Outdated legacy systems and silos of data from the multiple devices, softwares, and systems contributed to a breakdown in the holistic needs of people. And finally, the rising healthcare costs were out of control. There is no access to affordable healthcare, payors controlling doctors, lack of on-demand healthcare for the elderly, and costs that are impacting the health and productivity of our workforce and our population. Suquino watched the telehealth transformations and knew that it was time to bring everything together with the support of great technology and a system that was affordable. Next slide. And today we're seeing that telehealth is starting to transform healthcare. By 2022, the world is projecting that the revenue in the global telehealth market will reach over $19.5 billion. 76% of US hospitals use video and other technology to connect patients and practitioners today. And finally, 14.8% growth is projected by 2025 for the US market alone. But none of these statistics really address the problem. Next slide. In order to put everything together, we have built the Saffron Telehealth system, a software as a service option that is an open source, artificial intelligence-driven platform that enables real-time, personalized, connected care. That means that in real time, in a synchronous session with your patients, you can bring in your doctors, the patient, clinicians, specialists, and caretakers with video and audio support and real-time medical examinations with connected FDA-approved devices to take biometric readings in a HIPAA-compliant cloud built on Microsoft's Azure services. Artificial intelligence to take the massive amounts of healthcare data that are being created on a daily basis. Today, in the next 30 days, the United States will produce more healthcare data than the Library of Congress stores in a year. When that data is harnessed worldwide, we can ensure that doctors have access to an encyclopedic library at their fingertips at the point of care, at the patient level, at the institutional level, and to ensure compliance in a way that will take less of their time and provide greater data connection for patient care and specialist care and institutional excellence. And finally, we can take all of the silos in healthcare today and create a completely connected ecosystem, marrying all of the technologies that deal with patient care today, that look at payor systems, that connect with caretakers. Next slide. This real-time holistic healthcare enables the practitioners to remotely view and diagnose patient conditions or to create an asynchronous session so that a specialist who cannot be in the session can see the real-time patient interaction and biometric devices and readings later in order to deliver a better diagnosis and treatment, as well as more affordable care. This will eliminate some of the need for a patient to go from the initial doctor and all of the biometric devices and to repeat all of that with a specialist after a wait, an appointment, and another time in readings, because the specialist can have immediate access to what happened in that patient care system. The storage of our telehealth sessions in the cloud provide easy access and editing should someone want to slow down or stop what's going on. And finally, we use the latest encryption to protect the patient and stakeholder data with totally anonymized patient records in the cloud to not only comply with HIPAA, but to ensure the patient records are completely secure. Finally, the plug-and-play open platform allows you as a hospital or provider to plug in USB devices without excessive technical need or know-how. We want to return doctor and patient care to the doctors and their patients. Next slide. Saffron uses proprietary algorithms to harness the power of large data sets and generate medical decision supporting predictive and clinical analytics for your patients. We want to build a decision support system that gives you everything you need worldwide in real time to decide whether this patient should be followed up with a certain specialist, with specific testing, and have predictive analytics about what the best care for that patient is. Importantly, the artificial intelligence through the camera eye of the Saffron system can also perform behavioral and data sentiment analysis and extraction in order to help provide better patient care between the healthcare providers, doctors, and institutions that are dealing with that patient in real time at that point of care. Finally, role-based distribution of information will control how data is accessed and viewed. For instance, if a family member is attending the session even if they're HIPAA compliant. They won't necessarily be able to see all of the data that's given to the doctor because it is neither appropriate nor needed for them. They are there in a decision supporting system on the patient side, not on the medical side. Next slide. Part of our completely connected ecosystem called for a change in how we did things. And so what we saw was that with this proliferation of elder care and chronic care, that doctors, nurses, and clinicians were increasingly looking for systems that not only brought together and made multi-vendor devices interoperable, but importantly, was portable, was light, was easy to take with them. In early reviews, Saffron's ability to be picked up, put in a car, and taken to a patient's home was a game changer. And so we sought partners like Advantech that would allow us to use medical-grade durable devising, the AMIS 50 cart, tablets and handhelds from the AIMH system, and finally, portable and rugged embedded supercomputers that would integrate with biometric devices to allow us to create multiple solutions depending on the level of care and type of institution, patients, and caretakers, be it primary care physicians, entire hospital and health systems, nursing homes, assisted living, or even employers looking to put a telehealth solution into their employment place to allow employees to have greater access to medical care and doctors while retaining their productivity at work. This benefit can be realized with our connected ecosystem built on the Advantech equipment and Microsoft Azure AI platform. Our easy integration with third-party medical devices was what made it possible to harness the power of Azure. You can go to the next slide, thank you. To harness the power of Azure, its business apps, its application, its data and intelligence in the cloud system, and its interoperability with both Microsoft systems and others to create a fully HIPAA-compliant, intelligent platform that will allow payor systems, other telehealth wearable systems, hospital EMRs and EHRs to all speak with each other and to provide a one-stop shop for patient records, medical decision supporting data, and all of the healthcare applications that each patient needs to get the best care from their medical providers and to allow the medical providers to let the technology support them rather than becoming an extra set of duties on top of their patient care. Next slide. The AMIS 50 Advantech state-of-the-art cart with Saffron embedded for ease of use was the easy solution for some of our early advisors in customer care to say that within hospital systems and internal long-term care units, this cart solution was portable, light, smart, and could use our software to plug in a number of USB-compatible devices to be used in those systems and then to upload globally into healthcare systems. Next slide. And finally, you see our proof of concept here using a portable solution with an embedded Advantech computer powering the yellow Saffron portable card to go to homes and to keep those from children to the elderly with chronic care conditions connected to their providers, but in a place of independence, mobility, and dignity, living with their families, rather than having the inconvenience and cost of going elsewhere. Next slide. Because of Suquino's vision and the vision and partnership with Advantech and Microsoft, our mission to provide the answer to worldwide challenges was recognized by Healthcare Tech Outlook as a top 10 home healthcare solution providers of 2019. I am privileged now to introduce Amar Kumar of Wind River to talk about some of the other embedded solutions with Advantech as a partner.
Thank you, Meredith. So let's spend a few minutes to talk about surgical video management. Just like Advantech and what Clay talked about earlier, Wind River is the brand behind brand. We provide the embedded operating systems or software infrastructure that lives on top of Advantech hardware and allows a medical device OEM to develop their applications faster. And we provide mechanisms for long-term security and long-term maintenance for those medical device firmwares. We have heard a lot about security in the past few weeks, where security is starting to become an issue, and Wind River provides that long-term security blanket for long-term security. Next, please. So for over 30 years, Wind River has helped the world's most recognizable brands power generation after generation of medical devices. And we can look at 4 dimensions which are best used to describe Wind River. If you look at heritage, the company was founded in 81, so we are roughly a 40-year-old company. We went IPO in 93, we got acquired by Intel in 2009, and last year we got acquired by TPG, which is a private equity firm. Our leadership, so 40% of the commercial market, we have 40% commercial market share in the embedded OS space. And in that embedded space, we have the broadest portfolio of products. From a scale perspective, we have 1,200 employees, and we have a large ecosystem of developers. And on the investment side, the most important part to me, we spend a lot of our money on R&D. So we spend 25% of our annual spend on R&D. Next slide, please. Now, the industries we serve are critical infrastructure industries. We define those industries in an environment where a failure causes loss of life or it causes harm to the environment, and most importantly, it causes loss of valuable time and money. In those types of environments, next please, and one more please. In those types of environments, our software has been deployed in over 2 billion devices into environments, systems, and applications subject to the highest standards of safety, security, and performance. Healthcare is one of those critical infrastructure industries. Next slide, please. Now, the world around us is changing very fast, especially in medical. So traditionally, we had this machine view of the world. A medical OEM would build a machine, and they would ship out these machines on a monthly or yearly basis to their customers. And that world is really starting to change. Next, please. Now it's really starting to become a system view of the world where you have multiple display and data endpoints. That machine by itself is no longer sufficient. That data from the machine has to go to various places, and the display, the machine has a display, has to be replicated in many different places. So the customer's ease of use is driving the display endpoint requirement. A nurse no longer can wait to go to a patient's room. They really want access to the data right at their fingertips on their mobile devices like their iPads and Android tablets. And what they also want is they want a monitoring view of all their patients, the central patient for the nurse's station. Now, through some of the FDA recommendations, the data also has to flow outside of those display endpoints. So what we're starting to see is the FDA and FDA recommendations around both security and data availability is driving that data endpoint strategy. So one of the FDA's recommendations, for example, is they're saying the data from the machine has to flow to a data endpoint like an EMR system, so that translation errors, a nurse looks at a screen and notices 106, but writes down 160 on a piece of paper. So those translation errors aren't happening. Translation and transposition errors. So we're starting to see those data points starting to become those EMR systems. But another FDA recommendation is really around security, where FDA is saying when a critical bug is discovered, that critical bug in the medical device has to be fixed within 60 days. Now, 60 days is not a lot of time, right? Part of that 60 days days is getting to the root cause of a software issue. It's figuring out what the patch needs to be, creating the patch, and then deploying it to literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of devices that you could have not only in North America, but worldwide. So to get to that type of a requirement, what we're starting to see is basically medical device OEMs starting to build up their own cloud and starting to do device management remotely. So the world around us, what used to be a traditional device view, is starting to become this really big system view. Next, please. Now, one of the examples and use cases of that system view can be seen in video management. So in this picture, what you're seeing is you have an OR, an operating room, where you have multiple cameras and multiple displays. So you have a surgeon who's performing surgery, whether that surgeon is doing manually or through a robot. You have camera systems that are monitoring what that surgeon is doing, and it's through displays, they're showing it to multiple participants. Those could be nurses, those could be doctors in training. And if you look at it at the top end of this, it could be remote locations where they're getting advice from other experts in the field through telemedicine, or they're getting experts like radiology involved, right? Or you could have a theater, i.e. you're training new students on what is happening over here. And most importantly, just like Meredith has described earlier, some of this video actually has to be recorded. And the recording is not only for future learning, but it's also evidence of what happened in that surgery. So we are starting to see that middle layer where storage, both on-prem and remote facilities, is starting to become important. So we are now going from video, which was purely in one place before. Now we have video that is flowing all over the place, and that video has to go to many different display endpoints, and it has to be efficiently stored for when it's needed. Next, please. So if you look at the surgical environment requirements, you really have four major requirements. We could go into others, but these are the big requirements. So first, you have high bandwidth data, right? And that could be HD data, so 1080i or 1080p data. It could be 4K data, but all of this is really high bandwidth data, right? It's video and audio. And you have multiple sources of data, so multiple video streams that are coming from particular environments like the operating room. And you have those multiple video sources flowing to multiple endpoints. And number three, you kind of have to transmit this video with really low latencies in mind, right? That video cannot show up seconds or minutes later. It has to show up almost instantaneously. And then lastly, we have a mixture of high, medium, and low criticality. So high criticality is this just cannot fail. Your low latency has to be respected, for example. And that's your base video feed. Your video has to flow from the source to the endpoint, and it has to get there very, very quickly. You have some medium criticality, and this is really basic analytics associated with the video. So the basic analytics could be things like, hey, we are seeing an organ of a patient, but associated with that organ, what we're seeing is we're seeing things like the heart rate associated with the patient. Here's some basic analytics that get paired with the video. It's medium criticality because you could skip a second or two, but not much more than that. And then you have some lower criticality, some nice to have. So you could have some potential artificial intelligence and machine learning helpers that are guiding the doctor and basically other people, other participants, and helping them helping aid their decision making. Next, please. And thank you. So if you look at how we make all of that happen, it really comes down to three different things. So at the source of the video, what you really need is you need a system level approach. So Wind River has a tool called Simics, which lets you simulate the hardware without the hardware being present. So what that does is for a medical OEM that's developing their system or debugging when a problem occurs in the field, they can simulate the whole system without trying to figure out, do I have the right hardware? Do I have the right generation of hardware with the right boards and the right piece of firmware, etc.? can do this in a virtual environment, and they can both step forward and step backwards when a problem occurs. They can basically do accelerated tests using this SIMIX tool. Number two, we really have something called, okay, no worries. Number two, we really have basically VXWorks. And for that, for the pure video sources, i.e. no IOs, you really can basically do that through an RTOS or through Linux. When an IO is involved, an IO is an input-output, where you really want to zoom in the video, right? Or you really want to start putting some color filters on, or maybe even panning and tilting the camera just to get a particular viewpoint. At that point, you know, it's a highly deterministic type of an application, and an RTOS is absolutely the way to go. You just cannot afford the jitters or the variability to the latencies that are involved. Next, please. So at the endpoints where the video is going, you really start getting into what we call mixed criticality types of applications. At this point, you're not only aggregating the data from multiple video streams, but you're really providing the control of IOs. So what Wind River has over there is we have something called a Helix virtualization platform. What that is it's a type 1 hypervisor, which allows you to run multiple operating systems on top of it all at once. And by doing that, what you now have is you can have something like VXWorks, which is a RTOS, and you can get highly deterministic workloads. If basically someone wants to view the video and pan and tilt the camera, we know nothing else will affect that. We know that workload will always be given the priority. But then we have user interfaces, i.e. the basic analytics that can get created on top of that video through either Linux or Windows. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to get development speed while respecting the low level and deterministic nature of the video itself. So the Type 1 hypervisor, along with our VXWorks products and the Wind River Linux product, really allow us to get into that mixed criticality type of application. Next, please. And then lastly, this video needs to be stored somewhere. You do not have enough time a lot of the times to offload it to a remote facility, especially if you have folks in the same facility trying to view the video and trying to rewind or forward back. So we have a product called Titanium. What that does is it brings the cloud down to the edge. It brings the cloud to the hospital environment. And this product was designed with a few things in mind. It was designed with basically bringing cloud-like facilities, i.e. I want to be able to bring up new virtual machines, and I want to be able to virtualize my processing, my memory, and my network very, very easily. And I want high uptime. So this product was designed with 6 nines of availability, or 30 seconds of downtime, or no more than 30 seconds of downtime per year. And what it allows you to do is a few things. It lets you store the video very easily. It lets you add and subtract storage and processing as needed. So you can slide new blades, new server types of hardware from Advantech into the mix and get expanded sorts of processing and storage available to you. Next thing, it allows you to do low criticality types of applications. So think artificial intelligence and machine learning. It allows you to run that type of a workload and then helps you overlay that on top of displays that are spread out throughout the building. And lastly, it allows you to have multiple operating systems. So you could have, traditional Linux-based operating systems, or you could have Windows-based operating systems all running on top of it. So this collection, this portfolio of products, what it's really meant to do, as I was saying earlier, was it's allowing a medical OEM to create this system very, very quickly. So pairing that with Advantech hardware and a software environment like this, a medical OEM can get to that system view that we talked about very quickly and maintain that system view. Next, please. So next we have Tim, who's going to talk about Advantech's channel strategy.
Thanks, Amar. Appreciate it. Appreciate the introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. Again, appreciate everyone's time for taking time to attend today's webinar. And as Amar said, my name is Tim Mitchell, and I lead the iHealthcare sales team for Advantech here in North America. So today, what I'm going to talk about is, we've talked about a lot of the products and solutions that Advantech drives. But what I'm going to discuss today is our approach to working with channel partners and developers across North America. Next slide, please. So my team, we work with both, channel partners, and those include developers, end users, value-added resellers, healthcare-focused systems integrators, software solutions providers, and consultants. Next slide. The end users that we work with include healthcare providers ranging from everything from major academic health centers to community hospitals, physicians practice, post-acute care providers, and assisted living facilities and nursing homes. But really, regardless of the type of partner or healthcare setting, what Advantech does is we really strive to develop a truly a partnership, a really impactful partnership where not only are we providing great hardware solutions, but we're really looking for ways to impact your business and really set Advantech apart from the typical vendor that you may be dealing with. Next slide, please. So, as we discussed, we really are seeking to work with healthcare-focused channel partners and developers, both large and small. And like you already saw today, we offer many cutting-edge solutions that are purpose-built to the unique needs and workflows in healthcare. However, it's not really just about product. We take a very holistic approach and methodology in working with each of our channel partners. Again, our number one goal with partners or customers is to solve business challenges while also providing great products and solutions. So if and we certainly invite these conversations with you, after this webinar, but, every initial conversation with Advantech is going to start out really gaining an understanding and seeking to understanding what your goals are, what your needs are, what your challenges, maybe some of the competitive pressures you're seeing in the marketplace. So to give you an example, so instead of us coming in and presenting a bunch of product roadmaps and discussing specific product specifications, we might start that conversation by asking you about, what parts of the healthcare marketplace are you looking to penetrate? What types of solutions are you looking for? So, and perhaps maybe your goals are more financial in nature. Maybe you're looking to better insulate your business from competitive pressures. So, after we had that conversation, after we discuss your needs, the Advantech team is going to develop a very targeted joint plan to help you meet those goals via our unique solutions that we can offer. So let's kind of talk about a success story here with one of our channel partners. Next slide, please. So this will give you an example of the ways that we work with our partners. So after some initial discussions with one of our VAR partners, it became pretty clear to us that this particular VAR was having a lot of success with cloud and endpoint management systems. However, they were really struggling to compete on hardware opportunities. And the hardware opportunities they were winning, the margin was unsustainable. So we kind of discussed one of those opportunities that they lost. And they told us about a large project they lost to a competitor. And the end user in this case was a health system that was deploying tablets and mobile devices across the health system. It was quite a large deployment. And what happened in the end is the project became really a very commoditized bidding war. And the customer in this case took an initial one-size-fits-all approach, and they selected a very well-known consumer manufacturer's device. And while quite frankly, that rollout of those devices was mostly successful in a lot of areas of the hospital, the partner had discussed that they'd already heard about significant challenges with the devices in some of the more challenging environments of the hospital, such as the surgical suite, the endoscopy suite, some of those procedural areas in the hospital where infection control was a concern. There were some unique workflows where the device wasn't quite meeting with the unique workflows of the healthcare environment. So what we did is we made a plan with this partner to introduce the Advantech AIM series tablets to the health system. And we started out that conversation with the end user, by really, again, listening to the challenges they're having. We actually took the time with our partner to observe some of the workflows in the departments where there were issues. We were then able to jointly propose the AIM tablet solution that's cleanable, wipeable. It's made to stand up to the chemicals that are often used in surgical suites of hospital to clean devices. It also offers a lot of flexibility. In some cases, they needed docks and mounts. They needed hand and shoulder straps to kind of meet the unique workflows. You can imagine an operating room environment. There's a lot of mobility. It's not somebody sitting at a desk or just walking around. They often want to dock these items, put them on different mounts, and then pick them up to walk around. So we were able to sort of observe those workflows and design a solution specifically to meet the needs of this customer. So, in the end, the customer was very pleased with the AIM solution. It met their mobility needs and their technology needs in their most challenging environment. And the VAR partner was a real win-win because the VAR partner was able to set themselves apart by offering a very differentiated solution that solved the customer concerns. And the VAR partner also earned a healthy margin on the opportunity. So now I'm going to introduce you to Joseph Su. And Joseph Su is going to discuss our partner co-creation strategy today.
Thank you, team. And special thanks to Amar and Meredith for your participation in this webinar. We really appreciate your partnership with Advantech. Hi, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Joseph. I'm the Director of Corporate Investment and North America Business Operations from Advantech. Earlier in this webinar, Clay talked about Advantech's product portfolio for the healthcare application, and Tim just talked about how we go to market. Now, I would like to give you a flavor of Advantech's long-term business strategy and how this vision is shared by us and many of our eco-partners. All right. Today, everyone talks about IoT, but what does that mean to our business at Advantech? As Clay mentioned, Advantech is a manufacturer of hardware focusing mainly on factory automation and embedded computing, and now expanding into retail, smart city, and healthcare. Until today, most of this business is along the phase one curve here. Basically, it's about hardware selling. But we have seen a trend towards solution selling or an integration of software and hardware through co-creation. That's the phase two curve in this chart. I'm sure our guest speakers here are seeing the same opportunities. Advantech has built a software platform called WidePath, and we are working closely with many software partners to develop solution-ready packages for various IoT applications. Through the offering of these solution-ready packages, we want to enable our channel partners and system integrators to grow along the phase three curve and capture the biggest opportunities in IoT. Advantech will stay on phase one and phase two curves and just be an enabler along the phase three curve. Next page. A bit more details about SRP co-creation. At the bottom of this chart are Advantech hardware devices, including many sensors, gateways, all-in-one computers, tablets, and so on, targeting at different vertical markets. On top of that hardware layer, Advantech has developed some software modules that smoothly connect the hardware devices to the application software and the cloud platform on the top. In the application software layer, we partner with some independent software vendors and solution providers to co-create hardware and software bundled products or solution-ready packages to the system integrators and end customers. Those SRPs are made available as single part numbers from Advantech or from our partners, ready as proof of concept and ready to be rolled out and scaled up. Next. On the top layer, we have our domain-focused system or service integrators joining co-creation eco-partnership. We believe that a key to be successful as a system or service integrator is strong domain know-how. For example, a healthcare system integrator may not know enough about retail, but should have deep knowledge about the healthcare industry. Understanding deeply what the end customers want from IoT, these domain-focused system integrators, or DFSIs, will bring the right SRP to its customers, and will go the last mile from SRP to implementation, deployment, and maintenance. Advantech has been selling hardware to so many system service integrators over the past 35 years. Now, with the scalable and readily available SRPs, Advantech co-creation DFSI partners will be much better positioned toward capturing the IoT business opportunities. Next, right? So we talk about healthcare today. Here's the architecture of our iHealthcare solution. As I explained, at the bottom, we have many hardware devices. Then we integrate some software modules from Advantech with this hardware. And on the top layer, we have developed in-house or work with our co-creation eco-partners to create the application-specific SRP. These SRPs include iWard on the lower right, real-time location-based service platform on the lower left, iOutpatient SRP for patient check-in and queuing, as well as iHospital Command Center solution for hospital operation management. We continue to work with our existing partners and look for new partners to expand our SRP offering with mission to accelerate IoT deployment in the healthcare industry. I can give you a deeper dive into one of the SRPs, the iWard solution. This SRP includes several elements or features, such as medication management, nursing center dashboard, patient bedside information systems, all seamlessly integrated into the iWard server in the control center. In factory automation or Industry 4.0, this is the convergence of IT and OT, or digital transformation as some people call it. The same for an hospital environment. Now, let's come back to why we are doing this, why we are talking about co-creation and eco-partnership. For all the market sectors from Industry 4.0 to healthcare, there are challenges in putting pieces together and implementing an IoT solution. Various hardware devices to manage compatibility of these different hardware building blocks with multiple software, and so many layers in the supply chain have all led to extra overhead costs, slow time to value, and overly estimated or underachieved return on investment. That's a challenge for all the participating vendors, as well as the CIOs and other C-level decision makers of a hospital, a nursing center, an elder care center, and any kind of business owners. How do we overcome these challenges? We believe solution-ready packages are the answer. The SRP are proof of concept ready and available off the shelf. Advantech is committed to providing SRPs through working with software partners and enabling the domain-focused system integrators to quickly generate the final IoT solutions to the end users based on this off-the-shelf SRP. The core of this effort is the WisePath software platform and our Advantech hardware devices. But certainly the key is in working closely with our partners, the software or SRP developers, and the domain-focused system or service integrators. So we set up this WisePath Alliance, and we welcome you to join us. Around the world, we've already had over 150 members. Every month now, about 10 or more partners are registering. If you are a system integrator, a software or solution developer, or a specialized channel partner, we should talk. The benefits to partners are clear. Speed to market, a network to be leveraged, and joint promotion, marketing, cross-project opportunity referrals through extended sales reach, and so on and so forth. It will be a win-win to all of our partners and Advantech. This ecosystem is getting bigger and stronger. We sincerely welcome you to join WisePath Alliance and start co-creation with Advantech. For more information, welcome to visit our corporate website or find us on these social media. You can also reach out to me or Tim. We'd be more than happy to start a dialogue with you and discuss how we can co-create the future together.
Okay, everybody, that concludes our webinar today. Thank you for joining, and thank you to our speakers who have joined. If you do have any questions, you can submit them in the comment box here. We'll take a few minutes to take some questions. Tim, it looks like we have a question here that you might be able to answer. It's asking, can you share more about your medical certifications?
Yeah, sure. So, it really depends. So most of the product that Clay discussed earlier actually carries the 60601 medical grade certification. And that certification is certainly important when you get into, like, as we discussed, the critical, procedural areas of the hospital. That's often required. So, that's something certainly that, again, the vast majority of the products that you saw here today carry that certification. Also, along the other lines, what we're very proud of as well is that our Milpitas, California, our integration facility there, that's in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area, actually carries FDA registration. So that's very important for if you're dealing with any type of medical device or medical equipment manufacturers. That means we can do that, final assembly and integration of actual, patient-facing medical devices. But even, in many cases of the hospital, the FDA, that isn't necessarily necessary for IT equipment. However, what we're proud of is I think that speaks to the level of quality that Advantech can deliver. I'm sure many, any of you that are in healthcare know that the FDA, there's quite a bit of documentation and, it takes quite a bit to get that FDA registration. So I just think, again, it speaks to the level of quality that Advantech can deliver. So certainly if anybody has, any additional questions or wants to discuss that further in detail, I'm happy to discuss that offline. So thanks.
Okay, cool. I think we have time for one more question. This one, it might be directed towards Joseph Su. Question is, how long would it take to get set up as a WisePath partner?
All right, that's a good question. I'm very happy to see people getting interested about WisePath. So the WisePath Alliance membership, the VIP membership is $20,000 for 2 years, 2-year membership. And with this $20,000 US, the user gets 2,000 Wise points and can use these Wise points to redeem for the software elements on WisePath from Advantech or from our eco-partners. A lot of these are available on Marketplace. So the user, the WisePath VIP members, can use these Wise points to redeem those software or subscribe to some of these software. And so it's a matter of a few days to process that and get the user's account set up and activate the account. On the other hand, for software developers, it may take a bit longer to understand the technical requirement. It's very standard interface for our WisePath to connect with any software, but certainly it requires maybe the technical personnel from from each side to maybe have a quick discussion so that we can onboard the software from our partners to marketplace. I hope that answered the question.
Very cool. Well, that concludes our webinar today. Thank you again for joining, and thanks to our speakers, and please watch out for our next webinar. Thank you for joining.